Hello and welcome to CX Today. My name is Charlie. I'm the senior editor here at CX Today, and today I am delighted to be joined by Dave Darcy, Director of Customer Care at RingCentral. Dave, it's great for you to join us. How are you doing today?
I'm really, really good, Charlie. It's great to be here.
Excellent, and we have a really interesting topic to discuss today, which is great, and that's kind of the digital contact center of the future. So, kind of the first question I was hoping to ask you was, how's the approach of contact centers to digital transformation changed over recent years?
Um, I think there has been significant change. I think a lot of that has, in no small part, been driven by the requirement for everybody to work remotely over the last couple of years, which has clearly meant that businesses have had to recognise that there's a real need for them to move towards digital solutions because they don't necessarily within somebody's home environment have the environment that are required to do everything via voice solutions. I think the other thing in my mind that's changed dramatically is if you go back 4 or 5 years ago, there was a lot of conversation going on around how this could be the death of the contact center, and AI was going to take over the world, and and all of these great plans for digital omni-channel AI solutions. And I think what's really changed over that in that subsequent 4 or 5 years has been that the businesses and the industry has really learned that actually there's a place for both. And the reality of it is that digital front office is probably going to grow and grow and become really important to businesses for that very transactional type of activity. But in reality, the kind of customer experience management of high value and high revenue customers really is always going to be best served in a voice environment, particularly for those kind of complex issues that type of customer can bring about.
I think it's interesting there that you kind of mentioned the evolution of the digital front office, as you put it, and it makes me kind of think, where should contact centers kind of start when they are, beginning this digital transformation journey, and how can they evolve their proposition?
Charlie, I've got really, really strong views on this. I really concern myself with the fact that businesses go into the idea of digital transformation without thoroughly thinking through the rationale for that transformation. I think if your reasoning for moving into digital is because your competitors do it, then you really need to be asking yourself, if your competitors were to jump off a cliff, would you follow them? And you have to be. My strong advice to everybody in the industry is, if you're making the move into a digital environment, if you want to transform your business digitally, be really clear on the reason why you want to do that. If it's that you want to cut costs, you want to reduce headcount, then be upfront about that. If it's that you want to drive a better customer experience, recognize that you can drive a better customer experience using digital omni-channel AI, but it isn't necessarily going to deliver a cost saving. So be aware of why it is that you're making that move and understand what it is that you want to get out of it. And then, more importantly than anything else, is map every part of that journey and then walk every part of that map, because there are so many opportunities to get it wrong. And each time part of your path doesn't absolutely fit correctly, I can guarantee you that is going to be a customer irritant, and every customer irritant is going to become a problem for you. There are so many businesses that make the mistake, and so many customers who repeat the conversation about the mistake of not carrying the data, the information connected from one digital channel to the next. I moved house 3 or 4 weeks ago, and had to do all of the usual calls, the bank, electricity, the gas, the DVLA to tell them about my driving license change, and so on and so forth, and experienced the very, very good and the truly awful in that. But what I experienced more often than not was entering my telephone number or my name, telling them my name, or giving them my account number, and all these sorts of things, and then having to move to another channel and having to repeat the entire exercise all over again. Customer irritant, huge customer irritant.
Yeah, I think that's a great example. I really like your idea of kind of being clear on your focus for digital and mapping out those customer journeys to ensure that those irritants don't ever kind of.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, that's obviously very difficult to do to make sure they don't ever improve, but to kind of optimize along the way as well. I think there's lots of great points there, but it kind of makes me think of what kind of challenges come to the fore when contact centers start to kind of go through this process.
Yeah, I mean, the major challenge really is not having seamless connectivity from channel to channel. I think that's where things can really very quickly go very badly wrong. The intention of having this digital transformation really is about one of three things. It can be more than one, but it's ultimately about making life better for your customer, better for your staff, your agent, or better for your budget. Um, and um, and so you really have to understand that if you're making it not better for your customer, that will almost certainly make it more difficult for your agent to be able to work with that customer's issue, which is in all likelihood going to dissatisfy your customer, which is not going to be good for your budget. And so there's a real connection there, and therefore you have to ensure that that same level of connectivity exists from channel to channel. And for me, it really is about that very difficult task of mapping every journey and then walking every map. That's the only way you're going to find out where the challenges are. And each time you come to a challenge, you've got to fix it, because otherwise it is that customer irritant that will impact those three different streams. Um, I would always suggest start really small, get it really right, and move on again. You know, to use that horrible old adage, don't try and boil an ocean.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's really lots of really great points there, and I think kind of getting that synergy between channels is a very good point. And the kind of connectivity that you mentioned, it kind of makes me think. When contact centers kind of implement these digital channels, they've got a lot access to a lot more data. How can contact centers better use this to kind of improve customer experiences?
Well, it's a great question. The reality of it is that having using you've got the tools, you've got that data. That data is gold dust in reality. Making that data travel from one channel to the next is going to make that customer journey feel fantastically better. And there really is an opportunity to wow a customer by using that really well. I mean, we've all had this idea, but just imagine being in that environment where you're online on a website for a provider, and you can't find what you want, and a chat screen comes up and says, "Hey, Dave, can I help you with this?" And they know what I've been looking at already, and I can see that you've been looking at product A. What can I help you with that? That's fantastic. Actually, do you know what? What you really need to do is talk to somebody about this. So I'm going to connect you to an agent now to speak. And that agent comes on and says, Dave, hi, I understand you were talking about product A. What can I do to help you with that? That journey that just says, you've actually listened to what I've been asking for. You're aware of who I am. You're aware of my desire, my need. Um, I feel like a valued customer already. We're building a relationship. That relationship is only going to give strength. Um, it's the same thing in person. If you think one of my bugbears, and I don't want to name a particularly bad business, but there is a particular technical store that it drives me mad that I can go in there, I can stand for 20 minutes waiting for somebody to come and see if I need any help, or alternatively, I don't need any help and they will be there within 20 seconds. But then when I've spoken to somebody, they tell me, "Oh, well, I'm not the person that you need to talk to about it. I'll go and get my colleague." And their colleague comes over and their colleague says, "How can I help you?" Well, did your colleague not just tell you what I asked for? Yeah, this is the same experience, only digitally.
Mm. Yeah, I think that it's so important, as you say, kind of the kind of transferring the context of interactions and kind of
Absolutely.
customer history across different channels, and how we've been talking about omnichannel for so many years, and yeah, that's still so often kind of isn't the case within a lot of major organizations. I think that's a really good point, and kind of carrying that context is kind of one major digital trend that maybe we can expect to see within the next few years. What kind of other ones particularly excite you?
Um, I really look forward to expanding the use of video as we have done internally in businesses to being a channel for customers to contact. I think if ever we were going to see the voice contact center decline, it's got to be because it's been replaced by video. I think that's very exciting. I think more so, we talk about omni-channel, um, and we haven't mastered omni-channel. And so for me, the biggest excitement is how do we get to a point where we master omni-channel? We're very, very good at multi-channel. But let's not lose sight of the fact that the omni part of it is about that seamless connection, that whole piece that means it really doesn't matter how I've interacted with my customer. I still have that full connection right the way through that interaction and beyond. And so, rather than be out there looking for the next shiny toy, my excitement is about let's really polish the one that we've got. Let's really get that working absolutely right. And at that stage, I think the first suppliers, the first businesses that are able to really master omnichannel are going to win the race.
Yeah, I think as you say, I mean, as I said earlier as well, that we've been working on Omnichannel for so long, but to see it kind of change and to kind of get over those hurdles that we all experience as customers, that's a very exciting trend. I think it's going to be a huge focus, as you say. But kind of all this talk of digital and kind of moving to video as well, as you said, kind of has me thinking about the future of the contact center agent. How do you expect all of these kind of digital trends to kind of impact that role?
Incredibly positively. Um, yeah, I always cast my mind back to, I am like everybody else that has worked within the contact center environment. Nobody set out leaving education going, hey, I want to work in a contact center. Um, but I'm delighted that I found myself there. And I'm delighted to have been there through the journey that has taken us from an environment where this was a job that people did because they needed to fill a gap until they did something else, to now this is a job that is a career. This is an opportunity for people to join in one environment and to learn skills and to move through. And I think what we're doing by implementing omni-channel, what we're doing by bringing about customer video and such like, is we're just adding more and more skills, more and more strings to the bows of the people who work in that environment. And so I think what these changes will actually do for the agent is create greater opportunities for them.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that kind of vision of kind of the future contact center is a great place to end to end today's conversation. So thank you so much,
Not at all.
Dave Darcy, for joining us today.
Excellent, Charlie. Thank you very much.
All right, it's been a pleasure, and thanks everybody for watching, and we'll catch you again soon.